Nobody cares. And I don't say that to be cruel, I say it because it's the truth that sets you free. The world isn't watching you as closely as you think. They're not replaying your mistakes, they're not judging your every move. They're busy trying to survive their own days. Nobody cares if you start late, nobody cares if you fail the first time. Nobody cares if you change your mind, or nobody cares if you change your path. Nobody cares if you change who you used to be. And that's not neglect, that's permission. Permission to try without applause, permission to grow without validation, permission to build something quietly and perfectly and honestly. Because when nobody cares, you stop performing. You stop waiting for approval. You stop asking for permission to be who you already are. You realize something powerful. If nobody is coming to save you, then you have to save yourself. You get to show up when it's hard. You get to keep going when no one is clapping. You get to become disciplined, not because someone is watching, but because you are. Most people quit because they want attention. Winners continue because they want progress. So let them not care. Let the silence be loud. Let the empty room be your training ground, because one day they'll say, wow, you came out of nowhere. And you'll know the truth. You didn't come out of nowhere. You came from nights of being ignored, from mornings of self-motivation, from chasing to move forward when nobody cared. And that's exactly why it worked. Nobody cares. And that's why you're unstoppable. At some point in your life, you realize something that hurts you before it heals. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody cares how hard it was. Nobody cares about how tired you feel or how unfair this all seems. And for a moment, that truth feels heavy. It feels lonely. It feels shouting into a void and hearing nothing echo back. You wonder, what's the point of trying if no one notices? What's the point of pushing if no one applauds? What's the point of dreaming if no one believes? But stay with that thought a little longer, because buried inside that uncomfortable truth is a freedom most people never discover. The world isn't waiting for you to be ready. It isn't slowing down to understand your pain. It isn't stopping to check if you feel confident today. And once you accept that, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop waiting for approval. You stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're enough. You realize no one is coming. And instead of breaking you, that realization builds you. Because if nobody cares whether you try, then you're free to fail. If nobody cares whether you start, then you're free to begin messy, unsure, and afraid. If nobody cares whether you continue, then you're free to keep going quietly, without pressure, without performance, without pretending. Most people waste their time trying to be seen. They shape themselves for applause. They trade authenticity for acceptance. They wait for permission that never comes. But when nobody cares, you stop asking for permission. You work when no one is watching. You practice when no one is clapping. You grow in silence where the real work is done. And silence is uncomfortable. Silence exposes you. Silence forces you to face the question you can't escape. If no one ever notices this, would you still do it? That question separates dreamers from doers. Because the strongest people aren't driven by attention, they're driven by identity. They don't ask, will this make me look good? They ask, will this make me better? Nobody cares about your goals, and that means their final years. Nobody cares about your discipline, and that means you get to build it without distraction. Nobody cares about your vision, and that means you get to protect it. There'll be days when you show up exhausted, days when progress feels invisible, days when quitting feels reasonable, and those days, no one will stop you from giving up. No one will beg you to continue. No one will remind you this is why you started. That responsibility is yours. And that's where your power lives. Because when you learn to move on without praise, to endure without recognition, to believe without evidence, you become dangerous in the best way. You become self-led, self-disciplined, self-respecting. And one day, slowly, unexpectedly, results begin. People notice the outcome, not the process. They see the finish line, not the miles you ran alone. They see the confidence, not the doubt you conquer daily. They'll say, "You're lucky. That happened fast. I always knew you had it in you." And you won't correct them, because you'll remember the truth. You remember the nights no one checked on you, the mornings no one encouraged you, the effort that went unseen, the progress that went uncelebrated. You didn't rise because people cared. You rose because they didn't. Because in the absence of attention, you found discipline. The absence of validation, you found belief. The absence of someone else saving you, you learned to save yourself. So let nobody care. Let the room stay quiet. Let the crowd stay absent. Let the journey be lonely, as it has to be. Because when you finally arrive, you won't need the applause. You'll know what it costs, and that will be enough. Nobody cares.